Las Vegas Harry Reid International Airport handled 58.44 million passengers in 2024. That's an all-time record. It's the third most aircraft movements of any airport in the world. It's the front door to a tourism economy that generated more than $35 billion in 2024 and supports roughly 250,000 jobs in the metropolitan area. And by the airport's own projections, it has about 4 years left before it hits a ceiling it cannot break through. Director Rosemary Vasiliadis has said publicly the delays will start hitting the airfield by the end of 2029 or maybe 2030. The relief valve, a brand new airport in the desert south of the Strip, won't open until 2035 at the earliest. That gap between when LAS runs out of room and when help arrives is the most underreported infrastructure crisis in American aviation. This is why Las Vegas is about to hit its breaking point. To understand what's happening at LAS, you have to understand what makes Las Vegas different from every other major U.S. tourist airport. Most large airports sit on land that can grow. Orlando International occupies more than 11,000 acres. Phoenix Sky Harbor has 3,400 acres. Even Miami International has 3,200 acres with adjacent industrial land that could be acquired. Las Vegas Harry Reid sits on 2,800 acres in unincorporated paradise, hemmed in on every side by Interstate 215, the rental car center, the Strip Resort Corridor, and the airspace boundaries with Nellis Air Force Base to the north. The airport cannot expand its footprint. The runways cannot be extended. Adding a fifth runway is geometrically impossible. Whatever Las Vegas builds for the future has to fit inside the same physical envelope that exists today. That's the first half of the constraint. The second half is the airspace itself. Las Vegas shares its Class B airspace with Nellis Air Force Base, which sits 5 miles north of the commercial airport. The Nevada Test and Training Range covers roughly 12,000 square miles of restricted airspace north and west of the city. Bordering military operating areas restrict additional approach corridors. High terrain to the west forces specific arrival procedures. Las Vegas TRACON manages all of this simultaneously, and the practical capacity ceiling sits at roughly 70 aircraft operations per hour. That's the binding constraint. It doesn't matter how many gates you build if the runways and airspace can only handle a fixed number of takeoffs and landings every hour. Now look at the demand side, because this is where the math gets uncomfortable. In 2019, LAS handled 51.5 million passengers, which was the airport's pre-pandemic record. The recovery was extraordinary. By 2022, the airport was already at 52.7 million passengers, breaking the 2019 record. In 2023, the number jumped to 57.6 million. In 2024, it hit 58.4 million, an all-time record. 8 of 12 months in 2024 set new monthly records. October 2024 alone moved roughly 5.4 million passengers. International traffic surged 13.6%. By every metric the airport tracks, 2024 was a textbook year. Then 2025 broke the streak. LAS finished 2025 at approximately 55 million passengers, down 5.9%. December alone was off 10.3% year over year, and the airport saw 11 straight months of declines. The reasons matter. Spirit Airlines filed for bankruptcy a second time in August 2025 and cut 54% of its Las Vegas flights for the fourth quarter, eliminating more than 3,000 flights and dropping from the second largest carrier at LAS to the 8th largest. A separate Canadian boycott of U.S. travel, tied to political tensions, drove WestJet down nearly 30% and Air Canada down 40% in November alone. Broader consumer caution related to tariffs and discretionary spending added pressure. None of these are structural, all of them are reversible.
Even at the depressed 55 million level, LAS sits 6.7% above its 2019 peak, while LAX, by comparison, remains 16% below 2019. And aircraft operations told a different story than passenger counts. LAS handled 614,000 aircraft movements in 2024, which made it the 5th busiest airport in the world for movements. That number stayed at 586,000 in 2025. Las Vegas punches above its weight because of heavy short-haul Southwest flying, combined with private jet and general aviation activity, exactly the kind of operations that hit airfield capacity ceilings before passenger counts do. So when Director Vasiliadis says the airfield will start experiencing delays around 2029 or 2030, once total passengers reach 63 to 65 million, that projection is built on operational reality, not speculation. When Terminal 3 opened in 2012, the projected ceiling was 53 million. Through smoothing of peak schedules and airlines flying larger aircraft, that ceiling was pushed to 65 million. Each new ceiling has been hit faster than the prior one. Vassiliadis told the Las Vegas Review-Journal directly, "It means painful years for airlines and that we need a second commercial airport." That's the airport director using the phrase painful years to describe the period her own facility is heading into. This brings us to the second airport because everything depends on it. The Southern Nevada Supplemental Airport, known as SNSA, has been planned for 25 years. Congress passed the original Ivanpah Valley Airport Public Lands Transfer Act in 2000, conveying nearly 6,000 acres of federal land to Clark County for the project. An environmental impact study started in 2006 and was suspended in 2010 because of the Great Recession. After 15 years of dormancy, the FAA and Bureau of Land Management issued a fresh notice of intent in May 2025 to restart the entire environmental review process. 3 public scoping meetings were held in late July and early August 2025. The comment period closed in September. The current timeline looks like this: draft and final environmental impact studies through early 2028, construction beginning by 2029, completion as early as 2035, with 2037 as the more realistic estimate. The cost is projected between $6 and $14 billion, which would make it the single largest public works project in Nevada's history. The site sits 23 miles south of the Strip in Ivanpah Valley, between Jean and Prim. It will have 2 runways, including one at 15,000 feet that would be among the longest civil runways in the United States. It will have 153 planned gates. Brightline West's right-of-way runs adjacent to the site, which means a future high-speed rail link to the Strip is at least possible. The math that makes Las Vegas tourism leaders nervous is straightforward. If LAS hits its ceiling around 2030 and SNSA opens in 2035 at the earliest, that's a 5 to 7 year window where demand exceeds the system's design capacity with no relief valve. Vassiliadis told reporters, "What happens in those 7 years between 2030 and 2037? No one wants to speculate." Because SNSA cannot be ready in time, LAS announced a multi-billion-dollar Terminal 1 modernization plan in October 2024, with updates through December 2025. The plan is significant. The airport will demolish the aging A and B gate satellite buildings and rebuild them as pier-style concourses. A new pier will rise on the former Terminal 2 footprint, which was demolished in 2016. Terminal 1 will expand from 39 gates to 65 gates, a 67% increase. Terminal 3 will be renamed Terminal 2 to reduce passenger confusion. 2 new multimodal centers will consolidate rideshare, taxi, hotel shuttle, bus, and employee parking off the curb, one near Paradise and Tropicana, the other near Interstate 215 and Sunset. A new flyover roadway will separate airport traffic from commuter bypass traffic. Construction will take at least 4 years once approved. Funding will come from airline user fees, passenger facility charges, slot machine revenue, and bond issuance. Vassiliadis specifically noted that the airport has been unbonded for years, meaning it has substantial bond capacity available. But here's the critical point. The Terminal 1 plan adds gates, curb capacity, and processing flow. It does not add a single foot of runway. The airfield ceiling does not move because of this project. While the infrastructure is approaching its limit, the demand pipeline keeps growing. The Sphere opened in September 2023 at a cost of $2.3 billion, with 18,600 seats. U2's opening 40-night residency drew 700,000 fans from more than 100 countries. The Formula One Las Vegas Grand Prix returned in November 2023 and is contracted through at least 2030. The 2023 race generated $1.5 billion in economic impact. The 2024 race generated $934 million. The 2025 race was the 3rd straight sellout. Super Bowl LA58 in February 2024 was the city's largest single-event stress test. TSA screened 103,978 passengers at LAS on the Monday after the game, then a single-day all-time record. Allegiant Stadium hosted. The city saw roughly 330,000 visitors, and the economic impact reached approximately $1 billion. Las Vegas is reportedly being courted for Super Bowl LXL in 2029. WrestleMania 41 came in April 2025. WrestleMania 42 came in April 2026. the Oakland Athletics are building a new MLB stadium on the demolished Tropicana site for first pitch in 2028. The Las Vegas Convention Center completed a $600 million renovation by early 2026, and CES 2026 used the fully expanded facility. Air France launched its first non-stop Paris service in April 2026, with 3 weekly A350 flights. Qantas launched the longest international flight ever from LAS in December 2025, a 15-hour, 15-minute service from Sydney on the 787-9 Dreamliner. Southwest announced new code shares with Turkish Airlines and Condor of Germany. Even with the 2025 dip, the structural demand is being added faster than the airport can accommodate it. Allegiant Stadium attendance grew to 1.7 million in 2025, even as overall city visitation fell. The convention business held steady at 6 million attendees. LVCVA CEO Steve Hill is projecting 2026 trade show attendance of 1.2 million, up from 1 million in 2025. The 2024 record of 58.4 million passengers is not the ceiling. The ceiling is the 65 million figure that arrives somewhere between 2029 and 2031.
For the aviation industry, what's coming at LAS is unique among major U.S. airports. Most large hubs facing capacity pressure have land they can use to build new runways or terminals. Atlanta has space for a 6th runway. Dallas-Fort Worth has expansion room. Even constrained airports like JFK and O'Hare have multi-decade modernization programs that add capacity. Las Vegas does not have those options. The airport sits on a fixed 2,800-acre footprint surrounded by tourism infrastructure that cannot be relocated. The airspace cannot be enlarged because of Nellis Air Force Base. The only path forward is the second airport in Ivanpah Valley, and that is at least 9 years away. 3 things will happen between now and then. First, peak period operations will get harder. The TSA screening records of 107,000 passengers in a single day set in October 2024 will keep getting tested. Against all logic, the airport that powers America's largest single-destination tourism economy has known about its capacity problem for 25 years and is still 9 to 11 years away from a solution. The 65 million passenger ceiling will arrive on schedule. The new airport will not. The Terminal 1 rebuild will help, but it cannot create runway capacity that does not exist. And the demand pipeline that brought Sphere, F1, Super Bowls, WrestleMania, and now nonstop service to Paris and Sydney shows no sign of slowing down. Las Vegas is not running out of room tomorrow, but it is running out of time. By 2030, the airport that defined how a tourist city should run will be operating at the limits of what its 2,800 acres and 4 runways can physically deliver. The breaking point is on the calendar. The fix is on the calendar too. They just don't arrive at the same time. That gap is what the next decade of Las Vegas aviation is going to be defined by.